And good evening and happy Monday to everybody. It is Monday, November the 24th, Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving is only 3 days away. So, welcome one and all to the show.
Yeah. So, are you giving away a turkey tonight?
Don't think so.
Oh, darn.
Shipping would be astronomical for a turkey, having
Drop
to pack
ship
it in
it.
dry ice. Yeah, drop shipping.
Drop
That's
ship it from
funny.
Amazon.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. If you know, you know. Anyway, welcome everybody. Let's see. Let me go ahead and get the ticker started. This is Fowl Territory 336, so we are having a giveaway later, as always. And the hashtag is #FT336. So enter that out there in the chat. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and X.com. So let's see who we got out there tonight. We have first one in is Alaska One, Andy, followed by the Gun Snob. We also have Weston. We have Vulcan Rumble. Dale Pogue is out there, as is Boomstick and Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. Snob says, ship the winner a deviled egg. That wouldn't be so easy either. Vulcan Rebel says turkeys do fly.
Yeah, wild turkeys can fly short distances. It's more like a hop where they kind of flap their wings and glide a little bit.
So, Boomstick is out there, or whatever he calls himself now. Let's see. He says the wife won a turkey from the grocery store Friday. Well, very good. Congratulations. Alex Parlin is out there, along with our own Rich White. You're hearing him in the background. So he's out there and in here. We also have Pat Grad's Attic. He says, evening, everybody. So we got a few in here. I don't know. Well, there's Ron 2A Matters. That answers that question. He is off the air now, evidently. So, all right. Welcome aboard. We also have Hillbilly Up just joined us. So, 20 people out here watching this thing. So, welcome one and all to the show. So, let's go ahead and bring in my lone panelist so far this evening, the host of This Week Unloaded on the Unloaded Media channel, and well-known star of stage, screen, and raising cats. Let's say hello to Rich White.
Hello.
And we have Weston out on X entering his hashtag. How about that? That's called being clever, folks. We have Abigail Finnegan out there. She says, I've seen a wild turkey fly. My ex got drunk and threw the bottle at me when I told him to get a job. That there's funny. I don't care who you are. J Delta 22NC is out there. Boomstick says, remember that show WKRP in Cincinnati where they threw turkeys out of a plane? Yes, I do believe that's what we were referencing earlier. Mm-hmm. I think just about anybody who's conscious has at least seen a clip of that episode. I happened to watch it when it originally aired, it's still funny. Still hearing the replays. Visitor from down under, let's say good day to TJ Fishing.
Good day, mate.
Good day. All right. So, yeah, we've got an international audience out there. How about that? People come from all over to watch this silly show. And quite frankly, I don't know why. But hey, I'll go with it, So what are you up to, Rich? Tell me about your life.
It's kind of boring. I don't do much.
Well, that's not exciting. We got to fill an hour and a half here, so you're going to have to come up with a better story.
I didn't know I had to write a story before the show.
That's what you're paid for.
Paid?
Well, in a manner of speaking. Dale Pogue is out there. See if anybody else. No new people out there. 23 people watching. If you're out there, drop us a line and say hi if you can. I know it's hard if you're on a mobile device, so don't hang up just to do it. But Don't forget to enter the giveaway. And hashtag is # FT336. So, got big plans for Thanksgiving?
Just the kids coming over.
Oh. Packrat wants to know what movie won the bracket last night. You remember?
Bridge on the River Kwai.
That's it. An interesting bracket. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, I'm going over to see my kids for Thanksgiving myself. So let's see now. Abigail wants to know, in honor of the 336th Fowl Territory, are you giving away a Marlin 336? I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah, right. As much as they cost anymore. Since Ruger got their hands on them.
Oh, yeah. Ain't nothing cheap anymore. But that's kind of the way life is. But, yeah, so far, that's my plans for Thanksgiving. So, since I can't eat so much, it's going to be kind of get a little taste of everything and not pig out too much. But I'm still going to try it all. And I'm going to have a little bit of pie and a little bit of whipped cream. Life's too short. That is for sure. And so am I, by the way. And that's all right. I want to remind you of our sponsor. That is the good folks at Aegis Gun Care. They sponsor this. They provide prizes. And this week we are giving away the cleaner and lubricant combo kit to the winner of the giveaway. Dale Pogue says, traveling about 90 miles to Son's house for Thanksgiving. Fluffy says, hey, wait a minute. I'm still cheap. Nothing wrong with being cheap.
Packrat says, great movie. Yeah, and it went up against another great movie.
There were several great movies on that.
I mean, in the final. The final Bridge on the River Kwai versus The Great Escape.
And I don't know whether this wasn't one of those brackets where there's a clear, defined right answer. I don't think. It could have went several ways.
There was a bunch of really, really good movies on the bracket.
If you haven't seen some of them, treat yourself someday. That's coming from a guy who hasn't seen a lot of movies, but I've seen a good portion of those.
I've seen all of them.
Every last one? Wow, you watch a lot of movies.
Oh, I watched a lot of them with my grandfather over the years. He was big into watching the old World War II movies and Westerns. Yeah. I watched a lot of Westerns and World War II movies with him.
Packrat's Attic says, my grandpa always said good things come in small packages. I have heard that. Well, shall we look at a story? Are you in the mood to look at a story, Rich?
Got to do something to kill the time here.
Let's do that, huh? All right. So I'm going to share an article from bearingarms.com. And it says, supporters raised tens of thousands of dollars for clerk fired after acting in self-defense. That doesn't sound good. An Oklahoma City woman who says she was let go from her job at 7-Eleven after defending herself against an assault by an irate customer has found plenty of support online. 25-year-old Stephanie Dilliard drew her legally carried pistol and shot 59-year-old Kenneth Thompson when he allegedly tried to strangle her after she refused to accept a counterfeit $100 bill. Dilliard isn't facing any charges for protecting herself on the job, but because she violated 7-Eleven's policy requiring employees to be disarmed while on the clock, She's now looking for new employment. In a GoFundMe set up by Dilliard, she explains that she's worked the graveyard shift for the past 2 years before going home to her toddler, and her concern about a lack of security was the reason she chose to carry a gun while at work. And quoting here, as many already know, us overnight clerks are by ourselves. We have no security and we are not allowed to carry self-defense weapons, including mace. However, working conditions, it was not realistic for me to be able to follow policy and to be able to go home to my kids if a situation happened. That is why I decided to carry in the first place. I never expected for me to be in this situation, but I did what I had to do to go home to my kids. I was a good employee, committed and determined, but in between a rock and a hard place, I had to make a quick decision. Lose my life or lose my job, end quote. So far, the GoFundMe has raised more than $27,000 for Dilliard, and her firing has spurred a broader conversation in Oklahoma City and beyond about the company's disarmament policy for workers. Attorney Noble McIntyre commented, "It's unfortunate she didn't shoot him twice," highlighting the tension between self-defense rights and employment policies. McIntyre noted that Oklahoma is an at-will employment state, allowing employers to terminate workers for almost any reason, provided it doesn't violate public policy. However, he emphasized that Oklahoma's Stand Your Ground law supports Dilliard's right to defend herself. Ed Blau, a criminal defense attorney, explained the company's stance, stating 7-Eleven as a corporation, they do not want all of their employees packing heat while working all over the country. That presents a tremendous liability risk for them. Blau suggested that Dilliard might face challenges in pursuing a wrongful termination lawsuit as the company's policy was clear. The case raises questions about the responsibility of employers to ensure the safety of their employees. Blau noted, if an employee of a convenience store such as 7-Eleven is injured or even killed while working and that store did not provide either adequate safety measures or security, that store could be held liable for putting their employee in an unsafe place. And the author of the article continues saying, I get the liability concerns, but as Blau pointed out, it cuts both ways. Companies like 7-Eleven don't want to get sued if an armed employee engages in a criminal act while they're on the clock, but the C-suite executives should be equally concerned about the safety of their employees. If I was working third shift at a store where there was no outside security and I was the only person behind the counter, I'd make the same decision Dilliard did. It's easier to find a new job than a new life, after all. Hopefully, Dilliard won't be out of work for long, but it's good to see so many folks come to her aid after she was fired for violating company policy and protecting herself against an on-the-job assault. What do you think of that?
Well, most employers in the country you're not going to be allowed to carry on the job because they do face liability, and insurance companies, if they catch employees armed, may not keep the insurance policy going either. So that's a catch-22 for the employer. It really is.
It certainly is.
And this is coming from experience because when I was working construction, Amy was working at the little convenience store in town, and she was working the graveyard shift. And she had a drunk come in from the local bar one night, and he decided he wanted to be a little too frisky. And she ended up having to grab one of the kitchen knives they had there for working in the deli section of the store. And if that wasn't there, who knows what would have happened. And the best part is, come to find out, once they caught the guy who did it, it was somebody my brother and I worked with at the construction company.
Wow. Let's say hello to Guns and Barbecue. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just to get you up to speed, we were just discussing an article that talked about a lady in Oklahoma City who was a 7-Eleven employee who was assaulted by an irate customer and ended up drawing her pistol. And
I heard you reading it as over in the YouTubes.
Okay. Well, what are your thoughts on this? You got any?
Well, I've actually shared the idea that any place that wishes to deprive you of your right to self-defense should have to provide adequate security for its patronage, or potentially be held liable. And at the same time, not just its patronage, but its employees. But with that being said, also people also need to realize, like, now I don't know what Oklahoma's laws are like, but I remember, this might have been back 2018, 2019, something like that. There was, I think it was a UPS worker in Kentucky who was fired because co-worker reported that employee had a handgun in his car. He had opened up his door, and the handgun was sitting inside the door panel. When he opened up the door, the coworker that he thought was a friend seen it and reported him. And a lot of people thought, "Oh, that's crap." He wasn't, at work, but he was still on work property, and that's a problem. And there are states where you don't necessarily have to be clocked in or anything like that. Just being on property at work is enough to have you lose your job, which presents a huge problem, because then you then have to leave your home unarmed, theoretically.
Well, Oklahoma being an employment at will state, much as Kansas is, if your employer says that. However, in the state of Kansas, there is already a law that says an employer cannot forbid you from carrying in your vehicle to work.
Yep. Same here in West Virginia. Now, Packrat's asking if I taught the guy a lesson. He was already in jail by the time we found out who it was, and he never got out of jail because he couldn't make bond, and he ended up doing 5 years in state pen here in West Virginia for attempted rape. That's what they hit him on. So
we've had a few people join. Vanessa Kitty is out there, as is Ronald Eastman. Gerald Muir is out there. M. Gabriel has joined us. Chris Lang is also in the audience. If you're just now getting here and you want to enter the giveaway, the hashtag is #FT336. Gunsnob says in Oklahoma, you can have it in your vehicle also. But evidently not in the 7-Eleven. So, yeah, Weston says you can keep your gun in your car at work in Oklahoma.
I also feel like these employers should exercise a little bit of common sense, where it's like, oh, this employee was carrying, and technically they broke company policy, but state law says this, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't act outside of state law. They were perfectly within their rights. They're in a life or death situation, etc. We're just gonna not do anything here. And likewise, if they have an employee who they found carrying and they happen to do something outside of the bounds of the law, cool, axe them.
But it does beg a lot of questions. If your employer says you can't carry at work and you get hurt, are they liable because they didn't allow you to protect yourself and they didn't provide decent enough security? I mean, a 7-Eleven in the middle of the night obviously doesn't have a locked door and no guards. Bright lights and a camera is all you got, and that's only going to help you after the fact. Dill Pogue says, that's why I hate going to work at an Air Force base. Well, before we got constitutional carry here in Kansas, I think as most of you know, I worked at a nuclear power plant and they had rules back then that said absolutely you cannot have any firearms in a parking lot, on company property, or otherwise. When they passed constitutional carry, a number of people brought it up, says you can't legally keep us from bringing our guns out here. And it took them a couple, 3 months to rewrite the procedures, but eventually they had to pretty much give it up because they didn't have a leg to stand on. But they had, of course, talk to their attorneys and everything else because they didn't like it. They didn't like it. Chris Lang says, luckily I work for a 2A boss, no problem carrying. Weston says, when I drove for DoorDash, I carried, but I knew if I ever had to use it, DoorDash would let me go. The gun snob says just carry anyway. Jobs like that are a dime a dozen. There is a point to that, yeah. Any other comments on that? Good, bad, indifferent? I mean, obviously, she did what she had to do. I get 7-Eleven's policy, but dang it, especially a gal with a kid and stuff like that. Yeah, middle of the night working at 7-Eleven. Yeah, you need to be. Anytime you deserve to be able to defend yourself anyway. I mean, it's kind of a fundamental right, but they're like, oh, we don't want to give you the ability to exercise your constitutional rights. Weston says, like the article said, finding a new job is better than the alternative. And we have Sandy Vagina. Hello, Sandy. Devil's advocate, if they break company policy, they deserve the repercussions just like if you stole or anything else. Unfortunately, if you don't like the policy, don't work there.
Unfortunately, that really limits what jobs you're going to have at all.
Yeah, I don't know too
like
many
Rich
employers, if you tell them you're carrying, are going to be okay with that.
Like Rich has said, most employers, even if they don't want to do it because of their insurance. So the idea of like, oh, you're a basic criminal if you're breaking company policy, which that's just ludicrous in itself. Acting like company policy is equal to law, like the
It's
frick.
not. Mm-mm. Pack Rat's
And I'm
Addict.
sorry, but sorry. Go ahead, Gary.
Pack Rat's Addict says, I believe there was a court case that said that they can't stop you from having a gun in your car at work. Exactly. Sandy goes on to say a company can't decide which one of their policies they can and can't stick to. No, but they could change their policies. Danny says, I agree to a point. However, some of us have put in a lot of time and energy into our careers, make good money, have leadership positions, etc. I wish I could carry at work, but the lockbox works for me. And the gun snob says, see, a smart person would carry a throwaway gun and just say it was the attackers and you took it away. Make sure you get prints on it first if you're going to do that. Just saying. What you going to say now, Barbecue? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, it's just, what was I going to say? Boogers. When it comes back to me, I'll holler.
Okie doke, fair enough. But that was an interesting article. It's too bad. I don't have a link for that GoFundMe or anything like that.
Oh,
it's probably
holler.
What's sorry?
I just said holler. Meaning I remembered. So
Okay.
what I was going to say is, if companies would push back against these insurance companies and say, no, you know what? We want our employees to be able to do whatever it is that is legally able to be done within the bounds of the law. Then insurance companies would start having trouble having those policies. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to sit there and say, well, we're going to sue 7-Eleven because you allowed your employee to have this gun. Well, it's the employee's right. Well, why are you suing us? Well, because he shot him. Well,
devil's advocate, though. I mean, these insurance companies, to defend yourself on a 2A case, is extremely expensive from what I understand. And even if there are no criminal charges, there's always civil charges that can be brought and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And a bunch of questions and litigation that the insurance company, I mean, they're the ones that have to pony up for it if you were covered by them. So they may just be looking out for themselves from a financial standpoint. It may have nothing to do with whether or not they are pro 2A. It's just kind of a financial decision in their case.
It always boggles my mind how there's never a counter suit when somebody's being sued. Oh well, you shot this person, and we're bringing a civil suit against you, and blah blah blah. Okay, cool. I want to bring a civil suit against the family of this person for raising such a piece of shit individual that I had to do this in the first place, and I have to live with this for the rest of my life.
Here's an interesting thought. In West Virginia, we have a law that says if you legitimately have to shoot somebody or stab them, whatever you got to do to protect yourself, you are not liable in a civil case.
You shouldn't be.
You cannot be sued for that by the family. Would that apply to the company you work for as well if you're doing it, if it was done on the job?
Couple comments out here. Packrat's Addict says, problem with companies like Uber, they're based in San Francisco. Yeah, you're not supposed to carry while you're on an Uber. Sandy says, I'd be interested to know if you get an insurance break for a business if you are a no-gun business. That I don't know.
The insurance is cheaper if you're not insured for armed security, which is why they have the policies that you can't carry on the job because you're not technically an armed guard.
Denny says
the big cluster.
The victory in a 2A defense case is that you are alive and were able to defend yourself / property / family. The insurance company shouldn't have a say. The government should say, good job. And Abigail says, better to be judged by 12 and all that. Yeah, all good points. I mean, this is one of those issues where you can definitely see both sides, and I don't know, what the solution is, if there is a solution, other than protect yourself if you have to protect yourself. And, especially if you're in a dangerous situation, but you never know when a dangerous situation is going to come up either. There are some that are inherently more dangerous than others.
Yes.
But, robberies happen in broad daylight too. They most certainly do. And not always in the big cities. Sometimes it's in small town America too. So you just never know. So I've got another article here we can look at and talk about. Now we're going to go out of the country for a little bit. If you will bear with me. We're going to visit our neighbors to the north. And this article says, the first test of Canada's gun buyback scheme looks like a resounding failure. How about that? In early October, Canada's Liberal government kicked off its long-delayed compensated confiscation efforts. Wow, say that 3 times real fast. With a test run in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. The goal of the buyback effort is to take thousands of lawfully purchased semi-automatic firearms from their rightful owners. While the Liberal government has called the scheme voluntary, anyone caught possessing one of the banned firearms after the government's amnesty period expires risks criminal charges. Yeah, how about that? Because of Canada's restrictive gun laws, the government had a list of about 200 assault weapons, quote, in the Cape Breton area, as well as the names of their owners. Wow. One official expressed confidence before the pilot program began that the 200 will be collected through the pilot, but if not, then we will have to discuss with the people who were contacted to understand better what is their intention to comply with the law before the end of the amnesty order. Well, it looks like they've got a lot of discussions to schedule because, according to one local official, the government didn't come close to getting 200 firearms. Okay, quoting here, when it comes to the program for individuals, the federal government has yet to release the results of the pilot program it ran in Cape Breton, which, when it was announced back in September, was stated to be for a maximum of 200 banned firearms to test the online portal, collection, and destruction process. This week, the chair of Cape Breton's police board told reporters that he had heard there were between 10 to 22 collected. A request for a response from Cape Breton Police, which teamed up with Public Safety Canada to pilot the program, has not yet been returned. Cape Breton Police Chief Robert Walsh declined to tell local reporters this week the results of the program, saying it was the federal government's pilot, end quote. So a compliance rate of 10% at best. As Rod Giltaca, CEO and Executive Director of the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights, told the National Post, if the government isn't extremely humiliated over this whole affair, they definitely should be. Humiliated or not, though, the Liberals insist that they'll be rolling out the compensated confiscation scheme across Canada in just a matter of weeks. And quoting again, this week, Public Safety Minister Amanda Sangary, wow, that's a long name, told reporters the government was analyzing the results of the pilot, adding that the technical capabilities have been satisfied, with the plan to roll out the program nationally only weeks away. The minister's spokesman said the pilot, which is now closed, lasted a total of 6 weeks, with the first 3 weeks open for firearms owners to declare the fact that they owned a prohibited weapon, with the following 3 weeks for collection, verification, destruction, and payment. He added that the results of the pilot would be released before the national launch, and the government remained committed to finishing the program, end quote. In addition to their pilot program flaming out in Nova Scotia, the Liberals are also delaying the resumption of a compensation program for gun store owners who've had large amounts of their inventory made illegal by the gun ban. The first rounds of that program launched in the spring but last just a few weeks. In September, Anna Sangari, the second phase would be launched in a matter of weeks, but now a spokesman for the minister says the exact date will be shared soon. Quoting once again, Wes Winkle, president of the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association, which the government has contracted since 2023 and assisted with pricing, confirmed the National Post there has been an infinite delay on the part of the federal government. Neither Anna Sangary's office nor the Public Safety Department has clarified the reason behind the delay, end quote. Whatever the reason, I'm absolutely delighted to see how the Liberals' gun ban efforts are playing out. I can't wait to see how the government tries to spin the abject failure of its pilot program in Nova Scotia. And if the Liberals think compliance was low there, just wait until they start trying to collect guns in more conservative parts of the country like Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Good luck.
Okay, so their gun buyback program isn't working too well. What do you think of that? Anybody surprised?
Not in the least. You remember when they had the buyback, quote unquote, for the bump stocks in Massachusetts, and they collected like 10 out of the estimated thousands that were in Massachusetts. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's about time those Canadians nutted up.
Abigail says, government didn't own the guns. How are you going to buy back something that wasn't yours in the first place? That's a damn good question. I want to say hello to Justin Grimm. Also, I want to say hello to the goddamn Bacon, who says, on an unrelated note, I have an indefinite delay on serving Brussels sprouts during Thanksgiving. I like it.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So anyway, yeah, in Canada, would it happen the same way here in the States? I'm pretty sure it'd be even worse here. What do you think? I mean, it's kind of a good test program for American politicians to figure out how that would go here in the States. But
How exactly are they doing it? They just took and were like, "Hey, you got this long to turn everything in, and then if you don't, you
if you don't, we're going to ask you again why you didn't do it."
yeah."
The difference between here and Canada actually does have a registry. I know there's people that ghost registry and all that. I get all that. But they have an actual documented registry in Canada for every single firearm. So they know everything that everybody has.
Well, they have one they're owning up to versus ours, which we all know is out there, but nobody wants to admit exists. So there's that.
Awesome.
Let's welcome aboard another panelist. The one, the only D.M. Foss has joined us.
What?
I made it. Put me on the list.
Oh, you've been on the list for a while, buddy. So have you been listening at all in the last few minutes?
No, I've been reading Cat in a Hat.
Oh, okay. You hadn't read it before?
No, my daughter picked it out.
I see.
So I read it to her for her bedtime book.
Well, to sum up, we're discussing a test of Canada's it's a buyback scheme from the government. They call it, what was that term they use? Compensated confiscation efforts. It's basically a gun buyback thing.
Operation Snow Monkey.
They did 200 people in a pilot program, gave them 6 weeks, and at the end, I think it was somewhere between 10 to 22 collected. Nobody's saying for sure, but
so somewhere between 10 and 22 people out of the 200 still turned in their firearms.
Yeah.
That's upwards of 10%. That's a hell of a number.
Did they volunteer for this program, or were they randomly chosen?
There's a registry in Canada, so they just picked 200 random people they knew had these forbidden guns, and we're going to try with you guys first. What do you think? And basically 90% of them said, nah, I don't think I want to.
Well, there was 2 provinces that said they will not comply. They came out 2 months ago. Might have been last month, but in the last couple months, they announced they will not comply with their province government said they're not complying with the buyback.
Yeah, it was Alberta and Saskatchewan, the 2 that were mentioned in the article.
Saskatchewan.
Then he says, if you did it here, nobody will turn in a gun. People from other areas of Texas pushed the No Kings event here, and 19 people showed up from other cities. News reported it as thousands, but nope.
There's plenty of people that'll turn stuff in. You see the people that already line up at supposed gun buybacks.
Yeah, in Ontario and Quebec for sure. But other parts of Canada, not so much.
And those are people that are just doing it under the guise of like, oh, hey, you should do this. That way it doesn't fall into the wrong hands, not under the guise of like, hey, we made a law, and if you don't want to break the law, because unfortunately there's a lot of people that would go, oh, well, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I better just turn this in.
Yeah, but getting back to Alberta and Saskatchewan, they're also the 2 provinces that have threatened to secede from Canada.
Well, one of them already voted.
Yeah,
Alberta.
Yep.
Yes, indeedy.
Couple comments out here. Abigail referring to the registry, non-registry we have here in this country. Y'all are definitely on a couple lists because y'all associate with me. Well, likewise, I'm sure. The goddamn bacon says, talking to Abigail, magic of language, just like most, sounds good while being the opposite of reality, i.e., the term I coined, retardism.
Is that this? What? It's the
Pardon?
Abigail list. Is that the Subaru's owner club?
We got Honcho Fett out
Well,
there.
Rob D is on that list.
Honcho
Yes, he
Fett
is.
says, hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving. Hey, Gizzard Gary, Foss, Unloaded, and Guns and Barbecue. Well, hello.
Well,
TJ
Honcho, you are
Fishing
far
says, I
too
have
kind.
to go. Everyone have a great night.
Good night.
Abigail says, goddamn government double
Morning.
speak.
TJ's case, it'll be morning, almost noon. So
It may be done for lunch. I don't know what time it is in
Yeah.
Australia.
it's about 11:30, 12 there.
Might
All right,
be
Rich.
time
Nobody
to-
likes to know it all.
Time to throw a shrimp on the Barbie or something like that. I don't know. Denny says, I have some crappy guns that are worth less than $100. I might turn them in if the payment was high enough, LOL. JK, I wouldn't even turn in a broken water gun to the government buybacks.
Yes.
A lot of them
Inter-
just give you gift cards.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, with Denny's comment, if you've ever seen some of the guns that are turned in at these buybacks, it looks like that's what a lot of people actually do. They got like these old beat up guns that don't work and stuff, and they turn those in to get the gift card or whatnot.
What if you put a trigger on a hairdryer and then just put a metal pipe down it?
And that might work in Canada.
I mean, it's close enough to look like an Altor at that point.
Abigail says, unfortunately, I don't own a Subaru. I have a 1988 Crown Vic that needs a new motor and tires.
You should just drop a 350 in it. And I know 350 is a small block Chevy, but it's the greatest motor ever made, and you put it in like anything. So yeah, just put a 350 in it, and you'll be good to go.
Pack Rat says, this is our first Thanksgiving in Texas. Yeah, down in San Antonio, you're not going to see a whole lot of snow or anything like that. Justin Grimm says, pipe shotguns, LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty big gauge, too, on a hairdryer. That's for sure.
Yeah, make a bunch of actual zip guns and turn them in.
It is kind of nice that Canada tries these little tests before us just to show our politicians how much fun it would be if they tried that shit here.
Oh no, because the politicians here just go, "Oh, they didn't do it right. They didn't go extreme enough with it.
Mm-hmm.
They got to do more."
Abigail says that land boat already got bad enough gas mileage with the 302. Huncho Fett says, finally got moved out of Texas. Glad to be back in my home state.
Hold up. She thinks an 88 Crown Vic is a land boat? Yep, she's young.
I'm going to say you ought to go back to like mid 70s with the 98 Oldsmobiles that were
Let's say you got the
hell.
25 feet long.
69 Eldorado, for Christ's sake. Those things were huge.
Denny says, that would work with Congress. Have you heard the way they try to describe guns in rapid fire? A bunch of doofus dingbat dingleberries. That's strong language for this program, I'll have you know, Denny.
Also, I will come to Abigail's
dingleberries.
I will come to Abigail's defense. She did say land boat, not land yacht.
That's true. That is true.
Still, that's not something I would call a 88 Crown Vic. There were bigger cars than that in the 80s.
She's not old enough to remember a lot of these old boats we used to have back in our day. Living in Southwest Virginia is out there. Abigail says that some bitch is 17 feet long, 6.5 feet wide, and turns at a snail's pace.
Yep, and for the 80s, that's small. Unless you get into like a compact.
Pack Rat says there's a bunch of people that 3D print out frames and turn them into gun buybacks. Mike McLoone is actually out there.
That I have. Go ahead, Gary.
Mike McLoone says 1978 Cadillac Coupe de Ville 425 V8, like driving a lazy boy down the highway. Justin
say
Grimm says,
the-
I mobbed a 66 Impala in high school, 8 kids in a car. Dang, man.
We had an 84 the Sabre, and that was a land boat. That thing was much bigger than the 88 Crown Vic.
The only problem with turning in homemade firearms to the buybacks is it pads their numbers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Then they can say it. Look at all these guns. These,
Mhm.
you know, whether they want to say that they're ghost guns now or, you know, but we've got all these guns out the street. Sure, you know, it is funny that you're clowning them and showing how ridiculous, but in the press, most people don't understand what they're looking at.
No.
Mr. Bob Dabalina is out there. He says a 1974 Delta 88 had to be registered with the Coast Guard. Boomstick says if you can't fit 4 people in the trunk, you ain't got a car. Abigail says a land yacht would be something like a 60s Chrysler 300 or a T-Bird.
T-Bird wasn't all that big in 60, was it?
No.
Didn't think so.
70s.
Yeah,
70s.
70s T-Bird, yes. My father had one.
But,
going back to the buyback
The
thing,
Continentals were definitely big cars.
yes.
Go ahead.
Continentals, Cadillacs, they were all big. But in the Imperial, Chrysler Imperial. But going back to the buyback thing, their local news a couple years ago had the footage of the one they did in Baltimore. And on that table were quite a few air guns. Looked like somebody went to their local Walmart and bought a bunch of air pistols and rifles and took them to the buyback, and they got their gift cards.
And if you think the cars were long, the station wagons were a shade longer. So the old Vista Cruisers, stuff like that. Yeah, parking lots were fun back in those days. You couldn't have parking spaces as small as they are now. There's no way. Okay, so we are about to the time where I want to play something we haven't played in a long time. So let's play this.
Gary.
Hi, everybody. This is Gizzard Gary. I want to remind everybody that Gear Websites is your source for every second matters, gun channels, gear, ammo ID, and more. They have patches, stickers, and other items. And every Friday is Free Patch Friday. So
Spock,
make sure and
free
buy
patches,
cool
yo.
stuff at gearwebsites.com. Oh, and live long and prosper. Yeah, that's an oldie but goodie. We haven't played that one in a while, but that's kind of fun. Yes, gearwebsites.com. I did put that out there. We have a suggestion out there in the chat from Boomstick. He says, next bracket, land yachts. That could be a fun bracket. You people who do brackets. Oh yeah. I can see Foss's gears turning already.
Yeah, I'm going to do a 246 slot bracket.
That there's funny. I don't care who you are. Let's see. Packrat says there's guys that stand out in front of gun buybacks and trying to buy guns. Yes, that's absolutely true. They've
Against
got
law do that in Maryland. Somebody tried it and
they've
they
gotten
arrested them. Yeah.
discouraged by the local authorities for doing so.
I don't understand how they can make that against the law.
They considered them to be an unlicensed gun dealer by doing it.
How are you an unlicensed gun dealer? It's a private sale. You're not dealing at
Well,
that
they
point.
put a limit. Maryland has a limit on how many guns you can buy in a given period.
That
of
might
time.
be.
And if you buy
But-
more, they consider you a firearms dealer. And if you're an unlicensed firearms dealer, they arrest you and charge you for it.
Or they'll have the gun buyback on public property, and they say, "Well, you're not allowed to."
Yeah,
do
usually
that
it's
here.
in a public park or something like along those lines.
Which that too, if it's on public property, I don't see how they can say, "Oh, you got to leave," because what law are you breaking?
In Maryland, you're not allowed to carry a firearm in a park. It's a catch-22. They could arrest every single person that shows up there for the buyback.
Wow.
I'm gonna say, just that whole thing seems like if somebody wanted to challenge that in court, fairly easy to defeat. I mean, granted, it's going to have to make its way through everything, but at the end of the day,
They have arrested people for it. So,
Yep. That is true. Well, it's about that time. It's about that time, folks. Let's go ahead and see this guy.
Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you. Large prostate won't slow him down, chasing grandmas all over town. Got a sidekick named George the Cat. Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you.
All right. It's always fun when Foss is singing, you know something cool's about to happen.
yep. Like Gary giving away a Marlin 336 tonight. Hot damn.
All right.
and a turkey. And a turkey. Because
And
it's
a turkey.
Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. So that hashtag to enter the giveaway is # FT336. Go ahead and get that entered if you want a chance to win some swag and a cleaner and lubricant combo kit from Aegis Gun Care will be sent directly to you. So, Packrat's Attic just shared a link out here. Don't know what it is. Oh, we'll see if we have time to look at that here in a bit. But anyway, # FT336. You can enter that on YouTube, Facebook, or even X, I believe. So better do it quickly because we're about to have a giveaway. Are you guys excited for the giveaway?
Yay.
Yay.
We got Roll Call Outdoors out there in the chat. How about that? Mr. Bob talking to Foss says, I saw the Monkeys won the bracket Saturday night. Made me proud. Absolutely. And somebody else asked about, the bracket the other day. So people are watching these other shows. I'm glad you guys are getting around and patronizing my panelists and stuff like that. Because everybody on this panel does a live show every week. So definitely check them out.
Are they patronizing or patronizing?
Yes.
A little column A and B, probably.
Little column A and B. Okay. So I think we've waited long enough. Let's go ahead and hit the bongos. All right. So who's going to be our winner this week? Will it be somebody new or somebody old? I haven't seen Jacob tonight. It's actually Alaska 1 Andy. Are you still here, Alaska 1 Andy?
He was the first one out there.
Give you about a minute or so.
Shipping.
What's that?
Second most expensive shipping.
Well, at least he's in the United States. That's for sure. So Alaska 1 Andy, are you out there?
Hillbilly might be behind. He just put his hashtag.
Yeah, I'll text him out there. Denny says his name doesn't show up.
Uh-oh.
Can't always go by that user list.
It's rigged.
Well, give him a few more seconds to see if he shows up. Boomstick says, give it to TJ Fishing.
Well, he just left, so.
Pack Rat says, I think he's frozen up. Oh, yeah, up there in Alaska, it very well could be.
So you got the word rugged, and it's not pronounced rugged, but you got rigged, and it's not pronounced rigged. Why?
Well,
Yeah,
it depends
try and
on
mix-
pronunciation because older pronunciation would say rigged, like love it.
I feel like it would be more fun that way.
You're talking about inconsistencies with the English language, like that's anything new? Come on.
Yeah,
man.
that I don't even think about that stuff.
Yeah, it's like how we don't have moose and meese, but we have goose and geese.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to go ahead and do a redraw because
Schedule in the U.S. and
unfortunately,
schedule in England. Yeah.
unfortunately, Alaska One Andy is not out there in the chat. So second chance for everybody. Let's go ahead and redraw. Here we go. Who is our second chance winner tonight? It is Justin Grimm. Justin Grimm, are you still here?
Bacon, bacon man. I've gotta be
Justin Grimm. It's
a
much
bacon
cheaper to ship
man.
stuff to Iowa. I could almost
Hey,
drive it there.
There he
I was
Justin
literally
Grimm
gonna say that.
is out there. Yes.
Ooh,
I just realized I didn't show all the stuff, but I think you guys know the
Nope.
stickers I give away pretty much. So
well, you're not allowed to show guns in your hand on
That's true.
YouTube, so
but you're going to get the usual stickers. We're going to throw in a couple extra stickers from the good folks at Excess Sites. I wanted to mention that Excess Sites is having a Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, and that is through December the 3rd. Everything on their site is 30% off. So definitely check out Excess Sites. If you've been wanting to order some new sights for your guns, check out their website. 30% off is a pretty darn good deal on that
Yeah.
stuff. Like I say, through December the 3rd.
You know, in honor of it being the beginning of the official Christmas holiday season this week, just send everything to him as a surprise. He doesn't know what he gets until he opens it.
Definitely do that. Denny says, just don't accidentally wrap the cat. Not the whole cat, but sometimes a little bit of fur will be in there. So we do have a member anniversary. One of our panelists, DM Foz, has been a member for 37 months. Justin Grimm says, need that new combo sticker. You are definitely getting that, just like last week. Pretty much, other than a couple different Excess Site stickers, it's pretty much the same thing as last week. So Denny says, I need to put a set of those on my G45. Justin says, thanks, everyone.
X-Site stickers on your G45?
Probably not the stickers.
No.
But I've got their sights on several of my pistols, and they're very nice. And they've got some new stuff coming too. So
I have their shotgun front sight on my Shockwave. Replaces the bead sight. Works really well.
I'm going to go ahead and put a link out there for Excess Sights. Alex Parlin wants to know what was in the giveaway. Like I just explained, I didn't show the stickers, but basically the same stickers. I meant to show them. I forgot, but you really didn't miss anything that you don't see every week here. So Justin Grimm says, thank you for everything, Gizzard. He's been a member for 22 months. And Rich White, another panelist, says, or he's been a member for 37 months. How about that? A lot of you guys have been around for a long, long time, and you know I appreciate it. I certainly
that
do.
doesn't even count Patreon.
Well, yeah, because I was on Patreon, 2 years before coming over here? At least 2, maybe 3. I don't remember.
Well, you had them both running simultaneously.
And I've got some channel members that are over 4 years. So, yeah, you have to go back a while to Patreon. That is definitely definitely true. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of this banner. We're going to go ahead and go to not that banner. But yeah, I don't think Justin Grimm has moved, but if you did get a new house or something, yeah, send me your address. Otherwise, I think I know where you are. But definitely congratulations, Justin. Enjoy. And we'll move on because we have this part of the show that we call Show Us Your Gorn. And in this part of the show, yeah, you send your Gorn to Gorn at gizzardgary.com. Gorn at gizzardgary.com, or put it on the Discord server and we'll show it on screen. Real quick, we got a $5 super chat or super sticker. I can't tell which. I think super chat. Just because, he says. Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate that. All right. I think that deserves some noise. Well, we give him a gong. There we go.
Goat screen.
What's going on?
Mortal Kombat.
That wasn't
I'm
Mortal
lost.
Kombat. That was Peter Gunn.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I've got that's close to Gorn so far, at least in the email, is something that 223 DMR sent in the middle of Rich's chat last night. I'm going to go ahead and use it. So, go ahead and share this. It says, New York nightclubs in 2026 after Mondani became mayor. Just satire, guys. New York nightclubs in 2026. Good, bad?
Bad.
Bad?
It's accurate.
I thought you'd enjoy it, Rich, if nobody else. Not that I'm saying anything by that, but let me check real quick. Let's go over to the Discord server. There may or may not be one or two things over there. In fact, I believe there might be. So let's take a look. See, this was 11/18, so yeah. This is from our good friend DM Foss, believe it or not. You've heard of him, right?
Never heard of her.
All right. So, and I know we've discussed this on here before, but what has been seen cannot be unseen. I believe that's a 320, isn't it?
I don't know. I was just scrolling through Instagram and stuff.
That's a 365 that has the duck on the back.
One of the two does. Anyway, they're usually
Yeah,
not painted up like that, but I like
that,
it.
That looks like 365. I just checked against mine. I would say that's a 365.
Those aren't stock sites, that's for sure.
No.
But let me see. I think I'll look, but I think that's probably it on the Discords. Unless something got dropped in. Nope, we've seen that meme already. So, all right. So let's see if I got any more emails in. If not, Gorn ended quickly. How about that? Well, I'll go ahead and take the I'll take the graphics off, but if you want to, you can still send Gorn to gorn@gizzardgary.com.
in honor of the Canada story earlier. You hosers, get your Gornson in, eh?
They're not in the mood for Gorn. While we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look at that link that was shared earlier. And this is from newsbreak.com. It says Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito suspends ruling that exposed racially gerrymandered map, giving GOP one more shot to grab 5 seats. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito on Friday temporarily paused a lower court ruling barring the use of a new voting map approved by Texas legislators in August that could add 5 more Republicans to the U.S. House of Representatives. His order gave the challengers to the state's new map, including several civil rights groups, until Monday to respond to Texas officials' emergency request earlier on Friday to revive the map, and also provided the High Court with a bit more time to consider the matter. The December 8th filing deadline for congressional candidates in Texas is fast approaching, and the court-mandated flip-flopping of electoral maps is causing chaos among candidates of all parties who are deciding where and whether to run. Last week, a panel of federal judges in Texas sided with the plaintiffs and blocked the state's newly redrawn congressional map, ruling that Texas lawmakers had illegally racially gerrymandered the map last summer in their effort to pick up 5 Republican seats in the House at the demand of President Donald Trump. In a 2-1 ruling on November 18, the court ordered Texas to drop the 2025 map and revert to the congressional map created by the Texas legislature in 2021, immediately bolstering the 2026 election prospects for Democratic candidates in the 5 majority-minority districts that had been eliminated by Republicans who control both chambers of the legislature. Quoting here, "This is a victory for the voters of Texas and for the fight to preserve democracy nationwide," said Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, one of several plaintiffs in the lawsuit, along with the League of United Latin American Citizens. The decision was a significant setback for Trump and for Republicans in Texas and nationally, who sought to expand control of the state's 38 congressional districts from 25 to 30. And to protect the narrow GOP majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. When Democratic lawmakers fled the state in August temporarily but ultimately unsuccessfully denying Republicans a legislative quorum needed to adopt the new map, Trump criticized them for shirking their duty and insisted that the GOP voters in Texas who elected him were entitled to 5 more seats. Texas Governor Greg Abbott threatened to arrest the Democratic legislators if they didn't return to cast their votes. Any comments on that?
Nothing new. It's been happening forever.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. There's congressional districts in this country in blue states where part of it is in one part of an area, then another part of it's in another part with a district in between. I mean, it's like Fowl said, this is nothing new, and some of these districting maps are absolutely ridiculous. It's one of the reasons why Texas wanted to do this too, because they wanted to get rid of districts that were like that.
Oh, man. I don't know if I should put this on the screen or not. Oh. Tell you what, I'm going to share it with you 3 out there in the text. You guys take a look at it and think that's fit to be on the screen or not. That's iffy. That's questionable. I do like this one. While we're waiting on that, 223 DMR sent us something else here. So let's go ahead and share that. It says, "Oh boy, a Red Ryder AR-15, signed by Kyle." Wow.
Personally, I think you've shown way worse.
Yeah, you've shown worse than that before. I mean, I think enough time's gone by.
But hold on, did he die?
Yeah,
Oh, I had no idea.
Who died?
OJ.
Hold on, was it OJ?
Yeah.
No joke, I thought it was Billy D. Williams. The blind guy was looking at it. You're going to have that happen from time to time.
Well, I think I'm going to err on the side of caution. I think Foss's a little hesitant about it too. So,
Honestly, I think it's even better now that it's OJ.
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
It's one of those things that falls into, in comedy, anything can be funny if it's done the right way.
It's been 30 years. I think enough time's gone by.
anyway, we do have another one here, so let's take.
Is he going to get Norm McDonald?
Norm McDonald would have shown it on Saturday Night Live.
And this is from Chris Lang. That's pretty.
It's fancy.
He didn't send any information about it?
No information.
I bet you it's a 22.
Chris
Doesn't tell
says Savage Mark II.
Oh, okay. It's very pretty. I like that.
Is. All right. So let's see. Dale Pogue's got to go. He says good night.
Good night.
So anyway, that was cool. So, real quick question for the panel, just off the top of your head. We'll start with Rich. Favorite gun you own and why?
I don't know.
You gotta choose. They're not like your kids. You can pick one. This is a 90-minute show, by the way.
Yeah. It's a 90-minute decision making.
And we're already
process.
75 in. So.
As June Carter said, time's a wasting.
I'll say my 627. Smith & Wesson's model.
Whereas
627.
DJ would say, dead air. Okay, say again, Smith & Wesson what?
Model 627.
Why that one?
It's the closest I have to a 27.
Okay. Guns and barbecue. What say you?
Well, whenever I'm asked this question, I always say my Model 99 300 Savage, but I'm gonna exclude that one from this just because I've said it a dozen times before, and I'm gonna choose something else. And while Rich was making dead air, I was giving some serious thought to this, and after taking out the extremely obvious answer, this is really tough. I have to go with my 329 PD.
Okay, why?
44 Magnum, just in case somebody's ever breaking into my house and they decide to be breaking in with a refrigerator or freezer in front of them. I can still get them.
I'll buy that.
Man, did you ever see the? No, sorry. Go ahead.
DM Foss, your turn.
It's my M1 Grand.
And why?
Because it's an M1 Grand.
And I've had a little bit of time to think about it myself, but I could give the answer that I've given a lot of times, and that is whatever I happen to be carrying at the time is my favorite gun. But if I had to sit and think about it, it'd probably be my dad's 12 gauge that I have in my safe back there, just because it was my dad's, and it brings back an awful lot of good memories of hunting with my dad and stuff like that. So sentimental reasons for that one.
I like that.
Barbecue. You ever see Paul Harrell's video where he was testing what household items would be bulletproof and not?
No.
He used AR-15 and a 9mm, and it's surprising what the 9mm would go through that the 223 wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, including what was it? A washing machine, Gary?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The goddamn
223
bacon says, Beck, did I hear Red Ryder AR-15? Man, that Christmas story really grew up. Yeah, it did.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, the 9mm went through the washing machine, and the 5.56/223 didn't.
Okay, so I think it's about time to go ahead and segue, as we say here in the business, to our last section of the show segment, which we call What Did You Learn? So hopefully our panelists were paying attention. We're going to ask them what they learned during tonight's episode. And then we're also going to ask them one other question, which I've already asked Rich, but I'll have him repeat it. And then we'll let them plug whatever they want to plug. So first off, Rich, what did you learn tonight?
I learned that when it comes to our favorite guns, two of us picked Smith & Wesson revolvers.
So second question, then I've got a Gorn to show because somebody sent one at the last minute here. But second question is, and I know you answered earlier, but what's your plans for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, got the kids coming over, so we're going to spend it here at the house with the kids.
Okay, so what have you got coming up?
Well, if everything goes right, we'll have this week Unloaded Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Unloaded Media channel. And don't know what we're going to talk about. We just did a show last night, so there's no way I have anything planned yet. So.
All right. Thank you for being here. The goddamn bacon says, I learned that I need a Red Ryder AR-15 in my life, but I'll settle for a Red Ryder Fowl. But real quick, I have some Gorn that was sent in. So let's take a look at this. It's an optic. That's your hint. If you could tell us what it is. Anybody know what it is?
Looks like some kind of prism with scope.
Biachi.
It is a Swamp Fox Tri-Fire that Scott got in a tack pack.
I nailed it.
Very nice. Justin Grimm says, I want to buy an adult Red Ryder. Yeah, they have them. You definitely could do that. Okay, so let's go to Guns and Barbecue. What did you learn this evening?
I learned that Justin Grimm does not mind sloppy seconds from Alaska One Andy.
That's true. All right. What are your plans for Thanksgiving, sir?
My house will be invaded by family.
But they're welcome invaders, right? Mostly, anyway.
Yeah.
Good. And lastly, what have you got coming up? Are you doing a show this week or not? Since you normally do it on Thursday, and Thursday
I normally
holiday.
Yeah, and the thing is, with my place being the place that's being invaded, and I don't know when people are going to leave. I don't want to commit to doing a show on Thursday, so I might do one tomorrow night. Haven't decided yet because I had a kiddo at the ER tonight. So gonna have to see how that kiddo is feeling tomorrow, things like that. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll see what happens. But and with that, be sure to go use Gizzard Gary's super awesome links for all of his affiliate programs and stuff. Get DM Foss swag. I'm going to beat the dead horse here, but tell people to subscribe to Rich.
Load. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say subscribe to Rich. Maybe one day we'll get one of those knives. Probably not. And yeah, subscribe to Squibload. And say his channel's for everybody.
All right. Thank you for being here. And as luck would have it, we do have one more Gorn that just came in from 223 DMR. And I think it's appropriate considering some of the stuff we've discussed tonight.
Now that's a land boat.
That is 100% appropriate for our show tonight. I definitely think so. I like it.
Like it a lot.
Like it very much. All right. So thank you, Guns Barbecue. Last but not least, DM Foss. What did you learn tonight?
I'm an adult with a job. I refuse to learn anything anymore.
Okay, fair enough. Plans for Thanksgiving?
I don't have any plans. Wife's out of town. Kids don't like anything. So
You can come over to my place. Well, I won't be here. Sorry about that. You can still come over, but I won't answer the door.
I'll just kick it with George.
Yeah, you can. Make sure and feed him while you're here. Last but not least, what have you got coming up?
Saturday nights, 11 p.m. Pacific, whatever time, everybody else's time, overnight mouse party. Come hang out with us.
All right. Thank you for being here. As always, one more piece of corn and we're done. This is it. And this is one that Justin Grimm said I could show on screen. So he sent a good Gorn. So I think this is plenty appropriate. He says, if you never want to host again, serve this for Thanksgiving. We got cup of noodles turkey dinner flavor and cup of noodles pumpkin pie flavor.
Yeah, that sounds real appetizing.
Oh, yeah, that'll definitely get you out of ever having to host Thanksgiving again.
I might try the turkey one, but the pumpkin pie, no.
All right. So Hillbilly says, good evening. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks for hosting, Gizzard Gary. Thank you. Justin said he saw that at Wally. All right. So,
but in fairness, the first one that Justin Grimm sent in would also get you out of having to host.
Probably would, yes. But definitely, I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. As always, you guys are wonderful people. I'd like to thank my panelists this evening. Thanks to everybody out there in the chat for your comments and your Gorn and your general contributions to the show. And a special thanks to my channel members out there on YouTube for everything you do to support the channel. See, this is Thanksgiving every week because I always give thanks at the end of the show. But if you guys, I presume most of you are either hosting Thanksgiving or traveling, so you and your relatives be very safe on the roads. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And next week, we will have Fowl Territory on Monday, as always, 9 p.m. Central. And for you channel members, we will have a members-only chat Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central, where we'll give away a knife, yet to be determined. But anyway, I always leave you with this. If anyone tries to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms, give them the bird. This is Gizzard Gary, on behalf of my panel, wishing you a pleasant evening and happy Thanksgiving from all of us. Tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. We'll end this.
Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll end this.
Blame Canada.
Blame
always
Canada,
Canada's fault.
blame Canada.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.